New management options always support. Okay. All right. Wait, should we put something on the screen? Should we write like or follow? I don't think I can even do that. It's not like TikTok.
No,
Should we move your carpet a little bit?
no, I can back in. Well, they don't give you much.
Oh, this came with the scissors?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are next.
Yeah. In my dreams.
I saw somebody that has a dog that they shave a mohawk into, and I'm like, oh, that's an interesting thing to do.
I would never.
So I was thinking on my way over here, before my surgery, I can remember so well, I had my hair cut by a Korean lady who was telling me, she's like, you know, I'm going to Seoul to actually visit family there, and I got talking to her about Uncle Brandon and everything.
Yeah, that's where he was from.
Yep, she was so surprised that I was doing the liver thing. She's like, oh, I've never heard of that before. So, long story short, after getting the surgery done, it was like, I want to say my 20th or 25th day, something like that. I went back to the same salon. It's Sally's in Amsterdam. Fantastic Sam's. And she was working and she wasn't available, so I'm like, can I put in an appointment? And she's like, just come back in 20 minutes. So I just went and got something to eat real quick and went back, and she cut my hair again. I was like, I didn't die.
No, you didn't die.
No, she was real happy to cut my hair again too.
There was no Lucas's dying.
Yeah, no.
It wasn't an option.
So the plan for the video after the haircut, obviously later, is just put my videos in the background, like you've seen on that one video I did with Rita.
Yeah.
And then just reflect as much as I can day to day, like things I felt and had to do, like telling people like, you know, I took a shower with my spouse at the hospital to make it easier to clean my body after like 4 days. Like,
No, I mean, your body went through a lot.
yeah, I never talk about the fact that I wore compression socks and couldn't bend my toes, or the fact that they felt so like numb and stiff.
And fat
Yeah,
from the water.
yeah. People don't explain that in laparoscopic surgery either. Like, the reason I retained so much water wasn't due to the IV solution. It was due to the fact that they fill your chest cavity with water.
Yeah, that way they can see what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, it like makes everything float, like all your organs float, and they're a lot easier to manipulate. You can just very softly move them away. Imagine the first time they did that. They're like,
Yeah, how much water do we put in
oh,
there?
yeah, do we just keep filling? How many cc's? Is it clean? Is that the clean? Do you sink water? What do you mean? Yeah, so that's like most of the reason I had so much water retention. I feel like that unlocked the ability in my body to retain water.
Then now it does it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey everybody, thank you for sending the thumbs up. Thank you so much.
Hi.
We keep talking about the surgery here. So anyway, yeah, retained a lot of water, and like I was saying, I do feel like it. I mean, I'm older now, so it's been a couple of years, but I do think I can retain water now. Where beforehand, I really didn't have an understanding for that.
No, it wasn't something that happened to you.
No. The closest I'd ever seen water retention was in her during a weight loss.
Yeah.
She was on water pills. What prompted you to be on water pills?
I have Hashimoto's thyroiditis.
Yeah, but when you were like younger, you were like probably in your mid 30s to late.
I had
30s.
Hashimoto's and I didn't know.
Okay.
And the doctor, the moron doctor, said I needed to change my diet.
Yeah.
And I gained 5 pounds in a week and I hadn't eaten any food. All I'd done was drink water.
Okay.
So then I insisted that he run the tests.
I'm surprised we have so many people in here. I'm so happy to see so many people.
How's everyone's Saturday going? It snowed here this morning.
So anyway, next thing I can think of post-surgery was the trip home. That was a jarring drive. Like,
It had to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, leaving New York City was shockingly rough, and then getting on the highway was even worse. Like, I can just remember yelling at Dad from the back seat. Like I was in the back seat of the car with pillows, whole body sat in pillows, hugging a pillow, and it was like 2 hours home. And the entire time I'm like, just get in the fast lane. Just please, just get in the fast lane. Just stay on the fast lane. No, because he would get in the slow lane on the highway, and it was rough. There'd just be the little road seams. That was enough to cause me in lots of pain. I was like, and I was still on painkillers, you know. They sent me home like, oh, you know, you'll be fine for the ride home. No, absolutely not. I got home and was very happy to get out of the truck. He's over here doing 70. I'm like, just do 80 in the fast lane the entire way. And if we get pulled over, you have a great excuse.
Yeah, my son.
Yeah. So that'll be something I talk about. And then obviously post-surgery driving, I explained this to a lot of people. It felt like I was missing an organ. You could feel the sensation of my abdominal muscles collapse.
Something being gone.
Yeah, like
vacancy.
I tell everybody it was like if you pushed on a tire and it popped inward and then popped back outward.
Yeah.
If you were the tire and could feel the popping sensation, that was like what my muscles felt like they were doing. Under just the inertia of like taking a turn or speeding up from a red light. And that lasted
probably quite a while.
About a month. I would say about a month before my muscles felt like they weren't moving so freely.
Before things kind of tighten back up.
Yeah. I'm totally not able to read your comments, but I'm side-eyeing the camera right now so I can kind of see what's going on. Do some thumbs up or something for me.
Yeah, let us know you're here.
I'm still here.
Lucas grew up with me cutting his hair.
Yeah, this is why I did this. So if you are one of my followers, you've seen I haven't posted in about a week. And that's because I felt like I didn't look good enough for the camera. Honestly. Appearance means a lot, and I don't want to appear like I don't care about my body when I'm talking about my body. So specifically, I decided to get a haircut, just so I can do my videos. And who better than to cut my hair but my own mom?
And I like cutting hair.
Yeah, many, many times now.
And I only snipped your ear once.
Yeah.
With clippers, not with scissors.
And I'll say, the only time you've messed my hair up was that one time when you went too hard.
Yep.
So just, we're tailoring my hair to a longer length, but not quite all the way down today. That way, if we want to adjust things, we have time. Well, it's gone. We can't make it longer now.
Yeah, right. We can't put it back.
Post-surgery, talking about hair, my grandmother, Jean, was suffering from female hair loss in her older age. She actually said that her hair had returned to like a more vibrant growth and she had less gray hairs. Like that's literally the truth. Like she told me all the time. She's like, I don't have hemorrhoids anymore, and my hair's growing better, and my nails are growing better. Like,
because her body was functioning.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine the impact that a failing liver causes to all the cell growth. Because really, that's what those are all related to. Like your cells are replicating, and if you don't have healthy cell replication and healthy cell growth, your hair probably slows down and your everything. I guarantee you. If any doctors,
better for her.
If there's anybody that's a doctor in the chat, speak to it. Let me know if that's accurate, because I gotta look all this up. That's one thing I do too. Before I make a video, like I go off of my personal experience, but I also do some research. That way, I'm not unfounded in my information sharing. I'm also not going to be like, in scientific journal written by Stephen Hawking. No.
Yeah.
I explain the facts. Statistically, liver donation has improved a ton. That's one of the videos that I like. I'm sitting in my office, I had a doctor's visit, and I go over some statistics for liver donation in 2022. And it's like, I was like the 6,000th person, you know, there wasn't many people before me. If you compare that to 2023, there was over 6,000 donations in 2023.
Which is a huge difference.
It's huge. There was only 600 in 2022. So almost a tenfold. And then the year after that, it was like 14,000 in 2024. And don't have the statistics for this year, obviously, but a huge improvement in the amount done. So I'd say now more than ever, it's important for me to share my story and help people. Because there's more and more people doing it.
Well, and it's from the perspective of the person that had it done.
Yeah.
It's not a doctor telling you what you're gonna experience, it's someone that's actually, you actually experienced it all.
Yeah. The reason, I looked up the reason behind the improvement of how many they've done. It's because of training. Like, there just wasn't medical equipment out there for people to use, and there wasn't enough training resource for doctors to know how to do it. So there was just no established teams throughout America. It was like here, Mass, and I want to say Florida had like specialized teams for this. And now it's almost every other major state, like not like the little Midwest ones, but you go south, you go east, you go west, you can find major hospitals that do it. And I know that because I got on that guy's live stream and he was telling me about how, like, grandma was only on the donation list for New York City.
Yeah,
Like, we're that far away from a major city. We're all the way up in, like, Albany, so that's about 2 hours north of New York City. And the trip they told us, basically they were like, you're on the list. If you get the call, you need to get in a helicopter to get here. Like, med helicopter, and it's going to cost like $25,000.
Yeah.
It does not happen at the drop of a hat, so you need to be waiting on a list for that and too. So we were basically like, okay, we're going to drive it if it happens. Or they started to consider keeping grandma in the city, adjacent to the hospital. Well, the dude I talked to, Bill, and his wife, Rita, if you're listening to anybody from that story, or if you've seen the video, go check it out. Go check Bill and Rita out. But he is in like 3 different hospitals on the list because he went out and actually convinced their local team that he's a good candidate, that his wife is a good candidate, and that they should be on their list, you know?
and you have to, it's almost, you,
Yeah. To wait on one, like, we're lucky it's New York City, like, the odds are pretty high you find an organ there, but it's also, like, realistically really low because the chances of you being the chosen one are low because there's probably people who are much closer, much quicker. Like, they might call you and say, you have 2 hours, get here. And if you're not there in the 2 hours, even if you're on your way there and someone else beats you, they get the organ.
yeah,
They don't hold it for you.
otherwise it's not viable.
No, yeah. Time is of the essence. It's not necessarily you in an order of list. It's you in an order of time.
But you have to be so sick before they even put you on a list,
Yeah.
which is one of the
Yeah, that's
biggest
really the
problems
shitty
with
thing, too.
donation.
They put you on a list when you're basically ready to die, and then they go, okay, now that you're ready to die, let's put it up. Let's put you off for like 2 to 3 months and wait for a possible donor to come along. Oh, and we won't entertain family donation until, you know, that last month.
Which is so stupid.
Yeah. Anyway, brighter things. We'll talk about brighter, happier things. Let's talk about my strength after this donation. Because that's another thing that I don't talk about in my videos. I kind of just like gloss over the fact that I was really careful with my body post-surgery. I want to say day 10, I got outside for the first time. Like, honestly, it was like 17 days before I'd been outside. So get ready to spend 2 weeks indoors if you plan this donation.
Yep.
But I got out and I took one of my walking sticks that I had and actually sanded the surface of it for like an hour. Just sat out there and lightly with sandpaper worked on a piece of wood. And that was really all I was capable of doing. Like, if I had done much more, I felt like I was straining my abdominal muscles too much. And I really didn't want to chance internal bleeding. I think at day 10 I still had my drainage bag on, so I was still recording blood levels every couple hours. That was fun. But it took probably like 2 months before I moved from my apartment, because I was living in an apartment at the time, and I relocated to my house, and even then I was only cleared for 20 pounds of lifting force, so that meant I could move like bags of clothing. And Brittany and Aunt Missy actually moved all of our stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, Missy took a nice fall down the stairs backwards, holding my dryer.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Word to the wise, arrange people to help you move if you plan this donation. And you plan to move post-donation. Really, any major surgery. Don't move after major surgery. It's not a great thing to do. It's a fun experience, though.
I mean, if you're donating your liver, or you're donating whatever you're donating, the likelihood of people reaching out and being willing to help
It's pretty high.
is pretty high.
Yeah, I had dozens of people that were willing to help. The timing was kind of bad though. Like everybody offered it. I'm sure most people have experienced that. Oh, I'll help. I'll be there for you. Then the time comes and you make the call and they're like, whoa, no notice. I can't today. And it's like, okay, well, today's the day. So thanks, but sorry I gotta let you not be the one to help me.
It's kind of frustrating.
Yeah. My last post on Instagram before returning with all my stories here was actually about my frustration of packing. I was like packing up clothes and I'm like unsure if I was gonna be the one moving them. I'd come to grips with the fact that I was gonna be the one to let them sit there and watch people move them, but I did move those couple bags.
You did what you could.
Yeah. You're basically like a pregnant woman. That's what I treated myself like. That's what everybody treated me like.
Like a pregnant woman?
Like, yeah, because I had sensitivity in my belly, inability to lift things, concern over my health at the time. No matter what I was doing, it was like everybody was concerned.
It was a heightened awareness of your health.
Yeah, so it was like being treated like I was pregnant. It was like everybody was real concerned about how things were going. But things went well, just if you're watching on live stream. I had no complications. I had no emergencies. The only complication I did have during surgery was, and if you watch my videos, you'll see, I had internal bleeding triggered by an arterial leak. But I don't have much more explanation than that. My doctor basically said I had a vein that misbehaved. Verbatim. That is literally the words he used. So he cut in and had to split my entire abdomen straight up vertically. And that's what caused a lot of my delay in recovery. Like post-surgery, most people from laparoscopic surgery recover pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's a lot simpler.
Yeah, I would say, in my experience, by the second or third week, my laparoscopic incisions, the smaller ones on my abdomen, had already healed to an extent where there's no concern over hernia or damage or anything about them. I was only concerned about the vertical incision, it being, 5 times larger than all the other ones. I'm not moving my head too much, right?
No, you're good.
How are we doing on the haircut, guys? Improvement? Is this looking good?
This is better than a salon. If I drop the scissors,
Hold
I
up.
can still use them.
Look, we got comments. We got a comment.
If you're a professional hair person, I'm not. I'm just a mother.
I'm not. She's just done this for 30 years. All right, I'm gonna try. Is that Spanish? I can tell from here that it's Spanish. Probably not.
I have neighbors that speak Spanish.
Can you take 2 seconds and read what they said? Look, you're getting my mom. Is it Spanish? I have a lot of Brazilian followers.
Hi, Lucas. My partner went through her donor surgery last Thursday. It's her 9th day, and she is already out of the hospital. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for all your videos. You've helped me out so much throughout the process. We're so happy to know
Does
that.
her name starts with a V or no?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I thought so. I knew you would stop in.
Please give us more advice on how to take care of the donor post-surgery.
Oh, absolutely. So we'll keep going about it. And I will make the video. I promise you I'm making the video. That's why I'm getting this haircut right now.
I'm so happy to hear about your surgery.
Yeah, so
Congratulations.
big tips. You're just getting home. Get some ice packs. Because, again, I had the vertical incision, so I was in a bit more pain than normal. But you can't use heat compresses. Like, as much as it might feel good to be nice and warm,
It's the wrong thing
it's the
to do.
wrong thing to do because internal bleeding is the concerning factor when you return home. And that's, if you've seen recently, a woman died because probably didn't follow this kind of proceduring. But
And you have to listen to your body.
yeah, if you feel, and the doctors tell you, oh, it's all, dependent on the person, but there's circumstances where you're going to understand something's wrong, and there's ones when you're not. And if you're not cautious enough, it's your life in your hands, and they're not serious enough about that. So I'll keep elaborating here. Ice packs. They were like my best friend. I spent probably the majority of my days with 2 nice little ice packs on either side of my body, one on my left, one on my right, and sometimes one on my back, so get 3. And they were really the best thing you could use for pain relief. They don't give you a lot when you go home because it's a surgery related to your blood organs, kidneys and liver. They don't want you to take hard drugs, so they give you basically
The bare minimum.
ibuprofen, like a better, higher level of ibuprofen, which is safe for your liver. It doesn't have a lot of detriment to you, but that leaves you sore. So ice, lots of ice.
And you have to consider while they're removing your liver, they're moving everything else around.
Yeah, and due to the fact that I had a vertical incision, I might have had a little bit more trouble in my mobility, but once you get home, you're obviously on your way home or already home. Getting in and out of this chair that you sit in, the couch you lie in, the bed that you're in, it is the worst experience. If you're struggling to move and you need help, like being ambulatory, that's the term they would use, is the most important thing post-surgery. They try to get you out of bed right away, they try to get you moving. But even for me, and I'm a young, strong man, I come from a strong lifestyle, it was debilitating to sit in the couch and say, hey Brittany, can you help me get up? Hey, can you just put your hand behind my back and help me stand up straight so I'm not, straining my abdomen. So that's something to remember. Help your partner get out of their seat.
Put your pride in your back pocket.
Yeah. Treat them like they're pregnant. Treat them like they have a baby in their front and you're there for their support. And it might seem stupid, but it was one of the things that was most important to me. Like, could you help me move? And eventually we got a chair that was capable of, it was like a lounge chair, just a normal articulating single sofa, but it would allow you to stand up basically, or go to such a position that you could stand. Completely unnecessary for this because after, a month's time, I was completely fine and could stand on my own. So just forego buying anything extra and just give your partner the time they need with your assistance to get back on their feet, because it's like having a broken leg. You don't want to put too much stress on your newly injured areas of your body, especially not understanding your internal situation, because they don't really tell you. They're not super descriptive about it, but you have 4 layers of muscle in your abdomen in the front. So although it seems like, I'm like a water balloon, you're nothing like a water balloon. You have 4 layers of water balloon that are really, really tough. So it feels like things could fall apart at any moment, but you're stronger than you think. And there's more going on underneath the surface than you see. A lot of my laparoscopic wounds were stitched internally. I didn't have surface stitches, but some did surface.
They push themselves out.
2 or 3 had come to the surface, and they look like a clear fishing line, literally like a clear fishing line. And I assume they were tied in loops inside of me, and I say that because when one came out in the middle of my sternum, up in between my nipples, I teased it just a little bit to see if it would come to the surface and come out, and it did. And then a couple of days later, another small piece had surfaced, causing no pain. Again, these are just, you notice this, obviously, it's something coming out of your body that feels like a hair that's not meant to be there. And when you tug on the hair that's not meant to be there, you quickly realize it's connected to a lot of stuff inside of you that's not meant to be there, but obviously is now part of you. So I went to the doctor. I called him immediately. I was like, hey guys, I got a stitch that surfaced. What do we do? And they were like, we'll schedule for an appointment. It's not an emergency, obviously. But they got me down there in less than 4 days. All they did was snip the stitch off at the surface, and it went away. My skin healed over it, and eventually my body broke down the material that the stitches are made of, which was one of my concerns too, because I've had surgery on another part of my body, testicular related, and I had similar sutures, and they did not dissolve in the way that my team had explained they would to me. They took longer than I expected. In this case, even if they took longer than I expected, it was all internal, so I didn't see any of it. And I would say,
you were younger then too. We didn't know all the questions to ask.
Yeah, and the fact that these stitches probably take 6 months to a year to fully dissolve inside you is a good thing, because they're helping you along your healing. Your muscles scar around them, they build better bridges around it. It's just, all in all, it's better to have them there than not. That's why they leave stitches in you. And that being said, I had a wound that did not have stitches when I went home from there. In my videos, you'll see I had a drainage bag that they sent me home with. It was probably like a 1-inch wide incision horizontally and 1/2 inch vertically in the center. So it was like they created a little cross mark on my side, and nothing prompted it to stay open, but for 2 weeks that wound was left open with the bag on top of it, nothing but adhesive holding the bag to it, and my body would slowly leak my blood out into the bag. And
That sounds so gross.
yeah, we would measure it every day, and I can't tell you the numbers right now, but I can look back and find them out. But it was like 14 milliliters and 20 milliliters. It was like a very small amount of blood per day. But we did notice, oh yeah, and I'm gonna say, that cut never hurt. I never felt any pain from it. It didn't exhibit like, oh wow, I have an open wound to my entire internal cavity. No, it was nothing like that. It just felt like nothing in comparison to the amount of sensation I felt from the rest of my abdominal recovery. Post removing the bag, that healed on its own with no problem. Looks just like all my other scars and has no sensitivity, feels just as strong as everything else. I was gonna say, I found out the no hot compress thing the hard way because we were doing ice bags for the first couple of weeks, like probably to like week 3, when I finally like didn't see a lot of surface scarring and didn't have a lot going on. It looked like my muscles were starting to heal. I was like, oh, you know, I'll just try a rice bag on my stomach for like an hour. Well, in that hour, my bleeding had doubled.
Yeah.
Like, because we were watching it pretty religiously about when I would start to bleed and how much would come. And it was like consistent throughout the day. It was like a slow tree sap drip of blood coming out of me. But the heat compress doubled it. And we immediately contacted the team. We're like, hey guys, his blood level has doubled, you know, what I had coming out of me. And they're like, well, what'd you do? And we're like, you know, maybe did a heat compress. And they're like, whoa, don't do that. So they do not warn you about stuff like that. Even taking a hot shower can be too much. So you got to take like lukewarm showers and try to...
You don't want to do anything to heat your body up.
Yeah, you want to keep your body at a nice, normal body temperature. That's the best it can be in to heal. The cold that I preferred really helped numb a lot of the sensation I felt. It wasn't like I was in like chronic pain. I wasn't waking up crying every day. But I was in enough pain that it was like, you need some kind of relief. Like your muscles feel sore, you generally feel sore. And only for maybe 2 weeks, maybe by the 20th day post-surgery, you're gonna start to feel normal again. And eventually, let's say 30 days in, you're gonna feel like your old self again. But you still need to take into account, you are not fully healed. Your surface healing proceeds so much quicker because of the air. Like your air outside your body actually helps your skin heal a lot faster than your internal healing does. So like, I wanna say it took almost a year before my internal musculature, they call it your, what do they call it? I'm gonna remember, your fascia muscles.
The fascia tissue.
Your fascia tissue, which is essentially what anchors all of everything inside of you to its core. Like, it holds your muscles to your bones, it holds your organs to your muscles and to your bones. Well, that takes a little while to heal correctly. It might heal pretty quickly initially, but you need it to heal how your body needs to move. Like, you're a flexible person, everybody's flexible to a certain degree, and those muscles are gonna heal
in the direction that they need to heal.
Yeah, and over time they're gonna tear and re-heal, and you won't feel any of that because it's a muscle that has no nerve endings in it, but you will feel the sensation where your nerves are. So like for me, and for an instance, you can feel like a seatbelt tightness across your abdomen. It'll feel like you have a passenger side seatbelt on, or even a driver's side seatbelt on. It'll feel like across your stomach for almost a year, unless you are religious in like stretching. So like when I talked to my doctor about it, and I'll make a video about this too, I discussed how I never got any physical therapy post-surgery, despite the fact that you would think they'd try to get you some kind of post-surgery therapy if they split your abdominal wall. Apparently not. They do that for your leg or if you twist an ankle, but not if you split your whole core muscle in half.
Because there's not anything they can do about that.
Yeah, but you'd think they would have told me like, oh yeah, we'll give you a yoga instructor or something like that. No. So I approached my doctor and was like, hey, you know, I've done a little research. I feel like doing, you know, planking, like laying flat on my stomach, laying on my side, just holding myself up with my elbow. Just simple things to build my core strength up would be smart. Push-ups, things like that. And he goes, absolutely. He's struggled with, and this guy's like one of the best doctors in the world, he's struggled with patients giving back a reflection on how you can recover better and how you can deal with the tightness that's presented in your muscles. Don't worry, I'll have my mom read your messages in a second. But I'm gonna do that, obviously. And I did planks, and I've done a lot of different stuff. And I would say after a year, to solid year, I was able to do anything I wanted again. Prior to my surgery, like I said, I'm a strong guy. I could pick up
You were an excellent physical.
I could pick up 500 pounds in one hand, no problem, and I'm not tearing my abs apart. Post-surgery, I can still do the same thing. Like, I'm gonna do it in my strength video where I talk about it more. I'm gonna have my spouse sitting on my shoulder. And I might even just pick her up in the video because I'm capable of doing that. 130 pounds, up on one shoulder, very easily. And I don't work out every day. I'm not like
a gym
goer or anything like that. I'm just as strong as I was beforehand. I worked on a farm and I worked in construction. That's why I'm strong. And I'm just a healthy person. So your strength will return. The pain that you feel will subside. The stress that is accompanied with it, like the wonder of, is this gonna feel different? Am I gonna eventually feel normal again? Yeah, you will. It does take time, longer than the doctors let on. They'll tell you, oh, it's dependent on the person, which is probably, I'm gonna make a video. Your healing is dependent on you, or dependent on the person, because
Well, it is. I mean, your nutrition, whether or not you're following their guidelines.
Oh yeah, and I'll talk about that too. Like, I adhered to everything my doctors wanted. I was a real good patient for my team. My grandmother,
Not so
little
much.
less so.
She was kind of defiant. She had enough of being sick.
Yeah, she was like, I want to say 1 month out of the hospital, and she wasn't a drinker. I'll
No.
preface this with saying she wasn't a drinker.
Not
She
at
drank a
all.
beer. She was drinking beer with her freaking meds, and she was taking like a handful of meds a day. So, and that didn't hurt her. That never hurt her at all. She, passed away with no liver problems. So
No.
she was free from liver failure. She was free from complication from it. She just had other things going on.
She had a lot of underlying medical conditions.
Yeah,
She was diabetic,
74, diabetic, overweight for the majority of her life.
heart issues.
Heart issues, yeah, you name it. But guess what? She survived the surgery and she was thriving post-surgery. So happy to be alive, did so many things, reconnected with family after like literally 40 years. Like, backstory of my grandma, she was an orphan. Her parents orphaned her and her brother in different parts of New York, leading them to be separated for the majority of their lives. She only reconnected with her brother in her 70s. And he's a great guy. One day he sees this video. He's seen all my other videos.
Todd, right?
No,
There's two brothers.
Hank. His name is Hank. If you go look me up on Facebook, he's the only Hank on my friend group. So, yeah. Hope one day I'll do a video with him and we'll talk about Jean and we'll talk about what it was like for her to travel down there, because she did travel post-surgery. I want to say within 2 months, she traveled down to Florida to visit family.
She became the demanding matriarch of the family that she had been before.
Yeah.
Command performances, everyone's coming over for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we had our first Thanksgiving again. Probably been like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Because she was suffering for a little while, I'm gonna try and optically zoom my eyes in right now, but it's not working.
Do you want me to look?
Yep, go and read her blissful comment here. What do we got?
Your hair's looking good.
Is it looking better?
Yeah, it looks really, really good. My partner insists on wanting to keep moving. She does not ask for help. She's not behaving.
No, it's fine. No. I'm being
She's
active.
not asking for help getting up.
You should.
You need to ask for help because what's going
But
on
it's okay,
inside.
man. I had a full abdominal incision, so don't be attacking. If they only have laparoscopic
Err on the
incisions,
side of caution.
it's a bit easier to move.
Should I ask her to stop wanting to move so much? Moving's okay, she just needs assistance to do it.
Yeah.
So she's not straining. I'd love to connect with you over text
Oh, for sure.
or Discord if you're willing.
Yeah, I got Discord, for sure. Post your Discord in the
Question
chat.
to your mom, how did you manage your anxiety about Lucas's health?
Oh, yeah, here you go.
I'm worried sick about our donor's well-being. How did I manage it? Well, I knew he was in excellent physical condition. I know that he's an extremely determined individual. He's exceptionally intelligent. So he knew what he was going to do. He knew what the process was.
My character helped her a lot.
Yep. He had faith in the doctors, and I have faith in Lucas. Obviously, there are things we have no control over.
So how about this? I'll ask her some direct questions for you to get some cool direct answers.
Okay.
Were you concerned I was going to die once I came home?
No.
Were you concerned I was going to be in pain the rest of my life? Because my stepmom is. When my stepmother would talk to me about it, and I would express the fact that, I was feeling discomfort, they almost immediately, her and my father were like, and you could tell they talked about it, but they were like, I think you might have to accept the fact that you're going to be in pain forever, Luke.
No.
And that's not the case. I'm not in pain forever. It was just delayed healing. And it wasn't delayed healing. I had a complicated healing. They, in emergency surgery style, cut me open, stuffed hands in me, and immediately tried to stop my bleeding. My doctor treated me like his kid. I told him, he's 52 and had his first child. He was 4 years old, in his late 40s. And I was like, Doc, why'd you wait to have a kid? He's like, I needed to take my position seriously. I needed to be, cognizant of what I was doing in my life before I took on being a father for someone else. And I was like, dude, that's huge. That means a lot. So that's the kind of people. Yeah, that's the kind of people that she could trust. And most of the team and my family were really supportive. Everybody was ready and there for me. So let's see. How much did you visit me post-surgery? And how worried were you that you weren't going to get to see me?
I was worried I wasn't going to get to see you, but only because your dad and Audra were there.
Yeah, so I'm sure you experienced this if you did or didn't. Post-surgery in hospitals, they only allow limited visitation depending on your area or condition. We got away with 6 people visiting me at once a couple of times after my family berated everybody in the hospital to allow it. So that was nice.
I lived far away.
Yeah.
I lived up here where we are now.
Yeah, 2 hours away from where I had my surgery.
So.
But once we were home, my mom only lived about a half an hour from me. And I'd say you visited me probably every other day.
Yep.
Kept good tabs with me about how my condition was.
I know you, and if something's wrong, you let me know.
Yeah.
So a lot of my anxiety was relieved because Lucas and I have a good relationship, and he communicates. If something's wrong, I'm the person that he calls, generally.
Yeah. See, I have more to talk about with healing and strength. I was going to say, for your spouse, don't think, like my mom said, always be careful about movement. They urged me to walk as much as I could post-healing. And it's important to do that because like I was saying, your internal musculature is healing as much as you're healing on the outside. Your internal structure is reestablishing what it should and could feel like for a while. But with liver donation and reception in general, you have a lack of an organ and acceptance of a new organ. So you have healing that's going to take place initially to kind of hold everything in place, and then healing a little later on once you start being a bit more, again, ambulatory, you can move more. Your internal fascial muscles are going to restructure. So you're going to have feelings that don't feel normal, almost unexplainably.
You're going to feel different.
Different, yeah. But over time, you will feel normal again. Your muscles will return back to normal. You won't feel, and I thought for a while, I was like, man, I had a good looking body before I had all these scars on my stomach. I really hope I'm not seen as the man with all the belly scars every time I take my shirt off. But if you see my video, you see they fade over time.
Yes, and they'll continue to fade.
Yeah, eventually you won't even be able to tell. But I do have a pre-cut six-pack now. So let's see, other things you could have worried about. I didn't die. Mental health-wise, I was pretty secure, but...
I worried about the impact other people's behavior was going to have on you. Whether or not people took you seriously if you said you were in pain, or, I know that the doctors will listen to you because you're my kid and you behave like I do in that regard.
Yeah, where other people consider it, my spouse, like I'm sure everyone would understand, was very understanding. Like there was not many instances of frustration where I had to explain that, again, this is mostly due to the fact that I had my abs split, but I was careful about what I was doing with my body. I didn't want to take a spill, and oh, hey, I can't tell you why, but I feel woozy all of a sudden, and it turns out I'm internally bleeding. Like, those circumstances were something that I kept in mind very frequently post-surgery. I would say almost for 6 months. I was very careful not to fall, because the team couldn't really tell me how durable I was, and now they can. I've told them many times, I'm like, listen, I've like full force run into walls. I've fallen downstairs. I've done it. You name it. Fallen off dirt bikes, lifted things that I shouldn't, and I've never experienced any kind of complication or suffered any complication from my surgery, from my donation. So I like telling them that, at least. Like, hey, you can tell people they can be quite strong.
They will be.
Yeah.
I mean, getting up and walking around, like you said, is one of the things they urge you to do the most.
Literally day one.
Straining to get off of the chair, or straining your muscles to get out of bed or from out of the sitting position. That's something that you don't want to do.
Yeah, so, and I may have healed so well because I did take so much care when moving,
And you were young.
Yeah, I was young too, but I was like super careful. Like, we'll get into using the bathroom here. Super careful using the bathroom because that's an abdominal muscle use, and the danger with laparoscopic or otherwise in your abdomen, if you get incisions, is protrusion of fat from your internal cavity into your muscles, because again, I explained earlier, there's like 4 layers of you before you get to your organs inside, and around your organs inside of you is actually a lot of fat. People don't know that. You have internal fat too.
When you're not fat.
Yeah, even when you're not fat. Your body mass index indicates that through your body weight. But if you push too hard, you can push that fat through the incisions to the surface or in between layers of muscle and cause a hernia. That's what they call a hernia. These can be tiny, and I had one right from the get-go. Not from my cause at all. Once they stitched up my vertical incision, a little bit of fat remained in between my outermost layer of muscle and my skin. So they called that a hernia. Now that didn't have any real detriment to my body, and because it was fatty over, let's say, 3-4 months, my body mass, my BMI had reduced. I had lost enough fat that got consumed completely. So like...
Yeah, it was reabsorbed.
I think in one of my pictures you could see it. It looks like a pea, like the size of a green pea in my belly button. And eventually that just completely disappeared and I have nothing left of it now. So hernias are the main concern, and that's why, like she's saying, don't stress moving too much, but do move. But again, not too much, because you do not want a hernia. Those are, and if I had asked, and I did ask, I'm like, are we gonna do something about that, doc? And they're like, no. The complications posed with hernia surgery are far greater than the complications avoided. So they typically just allow you to have a small hernia if that does happen.
And they monitor it.
Yeah, they monitor it until such an extent that they think it's safe to do so. So like, I had the hernia, but I also had a pocket of blood on the back of my liver. So it was about the size of your pinky finger on the back of my liver, joined to my liver. Underneath the exterior skin of my liver and the internal material, some fluid had formed during their separation. And this, I could feel. Like, I had gone back to the doctor a couple of times.
That was your back pain?
Yes, yeah. I've gone back to the doctor a couple times about it and talked to him about it. And it's one of the, it's a discomfort. It's not a pain. It's a sensation that I can feel. But it's something that they feel is, it is operable, but they don't want to because it poses risk to my body. You know, you're penetrating into my chest cavity again. They would have to do a full laparoscopic surgery again, which means filling me with water, which means another recovery.
Restretching everything out.
Yeah, and taking a chance that there's further complications once I've had such an extensive surgery. It just doesn't make sense to. It being a fluid-based pocket, we'll call it, means that it's going to reduce in size, and it has reduced in size. Like anytime I dehydrate my body, I can guarantee that my liver is eating a little bit of that. Like every time you dehydrate your body, it finds water wherever it can. So little things like that. Same thing with fat. If you develop a fatty hernia like I did, a very small one, you could lose a couple of pounds. Let's just say I lost like 5 pounds. I went into surgery, 175 pounds. I came out of surgery, 230 pounds. Kapow! That's how much water they put into me. And I would say I was back to about 180 pounds by my 6th month, maybe 5th month mark. And by that time, I had started to see the hernia was receding in size. Because again, you're losing fat. And that was just because my body has good metabolism. It wasn't because I was working out. I was doing daily walks, like a mile a day, real modest, probably less than they've told me to do, but I healed fine, you know. Again, I was taking it easy with my abdomen, and it is important. Don't push your body too far. We all feel invincible until all of a sudden something snaps or breaks or pops or, you know, gets real noticeable.
Better off taking your time
Yeah.
than rushing your body to do something that it's not prepared to do.
Yeah, so I'll go on to another topic, because I know you're going to be curious about food. I see them all the time in my feed now, people talking about their gallbladder being removed, because that's part of the process. And you could say if your partner has had it removed. I was lactose intolerant, not like insanely lactose intolerant, but let's say lactose sensitive prior to surgery. And post-surgery, I almost want to say like my gut health improved, as weird as that sounds. But the way your body functions with its bile, it typically would hold it in your gallbladder and then slowly precipitate it into your stomach and your intestines for digestion. This is completely changed post-surgery. Now your liver produces the bile and it goes directly into your intestines. Some people feel, and I don't know how true it is, it's like it's one of those conditions where it's still being discovered, because gallbladder removal is only like 50 years old. But they feel like when you eat, you go to the bathroom rather quickly afterwards. I have not experienced this. It doesn't seem to be the case for me.
So some people feel like their digestive process is quicker.
Yeah, they feel like it's much faster. And again, not the same for me. Pre-surgery, a little lactose sensitive. Post-surgery, probably the same. Things haven't changed much. Unlike this haircut. Post-surgery though, you are pretty quickly you're pretty soon, recently out of surgery. They warned me not to eat fatty foods because your liver is regrowing and because you're dealing with muscular regrowth. You want to try to avoid a fat intake in your body. So try to eat healthy. Try to stay away from all the junk food for a couple of months.
Don't eat food that gives you gas.
To give you an estimated time frame for your health of eating to be careful of, my liver regrew 90% of its mass or 70% of its mass in 4 months, had fully regrown in 8. So in roughly 8 months, you could consider dietary changes again if you wanted to, you know, eat fatty foods all the time. Like if you're really into drinking milkshakes or something, get back on them again. It's totally fine. I was cognizant of antioxidants. Not that it's like super necessary, but I ate a lot of fruit post-surgery. For me, that was kind of like my comfort food. I got out of surgery and was like, hey, can you guys give me some Jell-O and some fruit? Like a pear or an apple or something like that? And I learned afterwards, antioxidant fruit is actually really good for your liver health. So when you're in the midst of regrowth, or if you're receptive of donation, it's really good to take care of that organ as it's regrowing or it's getting used to you. So antioxidants are important for your blood. You want to have healthy, good blood running through your liver. And stay hydrated, don't dehydrate yourself. One of the things that the team and liver regrowth is still being understood, and they couldn't answer my questions about it, but is liver density. Your liver regrows, but it doesn't regrow to the same density right away. It'd be like if you took a balloon and poked a small hole in the bottom of the balloon and then started to run a lot of water with sand in it through the balloon. Eventually the balloon will be full of sand, and eventually you're going to be pushing sand into the sand and making the sand denser and denser inside that balloon. the same concept as what's happening inside your liver. It doesn't, I guess it probably reaches, and they still don't understand, so I'm speculating. It probably reaches a point of density where it doesn't need to regrow anymore because the regrowth is completely unknown. They don't know why it regrows. They don't know why it regrows to the size it regrows, because sometimes it goes to 100% size again. Sometimes it goes back less, or a different shape, or a different orientation of growth. Like mine descended into a normal liver shape. Yours might look like your hand is waving inside of you. So the variations aren't known yet. There's no reason or rhyme. They're just still figuring that out. But for my lens on things, what I was considering was that I'm gonna try and take it easy on foods that are gonna build up fat for longer than 6 months, even though my organ or 8 months had regrown. I just made the consideration that the density probably wasn't there yet. Like, no matter what they could tell me on a CAT scan, like they'd see my imaging and say, oh, looks good. You know, volume-wise, it's back to the same volume. But that doesn't measure density of your organ. And in your liver's case, your liver can be seen as like a sponge. And if you filled the sponge up with fat, it's not going to run water through it very well anymore. And your blood is essentially water. What are you doing to me? Is it just a comb?
It cuts.
Okay, that's what it felt like. Sorry to stop.
It doesn't cut you.
So your liver's like a sponge, and when filled with fat, it doesn't flow well. That's why they call it fatty liver. That's why people get into failure from fatty liver. Essentially what happens is the sponge gets backed up to such an extent that it can't filter your blood correctly. You end up with a lot of material in your blood you shouldn't, and it's very unhealthy. So when I was doing my regeneration, I made consideration.
I'm sorry, it was a comb.
She's got the scissors near the ear right now. It's a tense moment here in the haircut. But I made the consideration for a good term afterwards, even after they told me that it had regrown in density, to maintain a healthy diet until, I don't know, there's no real rhyme or reason that it's still not known, but for roughly a year afterwards, I just considered that my density hadn't returned and that I needed to maintain healthy living.
Eating habits.
Yeah, eating habits in particular, to make sure my liver regrew correctly. And I can say the first drink I had was literally like putting liquor through a coffee filter. It was not like having a liver. A single shot of vodka was like a bottle. Like I could immediately feel it in my blood. So that lent to my understanding of my liver's density, you know. Like if that analogy makes sense to you, the liquor just washed right through my liver, went from my stomach, right through my liver, and into my bloodstream with no delay.
Let me get my clipper so I can do your neck.
Okay. We're looking good? So yeah, post-surgery for your spouse, or for anybody listening, don't drink liquor. There's no reason to. I know it's fun, and I did it experimentally, I'll say. And when I did do it, you know, everyone was very concerned. They're like, you shouldn't be drinking, drinking's not good for you, and it is not good for you. Like I was explaining, the density of my liver being my concern. Every time you drink liquor, it's like putting a needle through your liver and killing a small section of it. Every time. And the reason why people can recover from drinking that many times a year or a month is because your liver regenerates. And if you take it too hard, if you're drinking constantly for years and years and years, your liver turns into a scarred liver, and that functions the same way as a fatty liver. It can't pass your blood through it correctly. It leaves a lot of toxins inside your body, and you start getting real sick. You start shaking. You start exhibiting the features of liver failure. So don't drink if you're doing liver stuff. If you're in any consideration of your recovery period, like you are right now, just don't drink. It's not worth it. Drink some water, enjoy some mocktails. Like, I found, and maybe your spouse will find this interesting, exotic fruit was where I went with my interests. I found that there's a million different types of berry, there's 100 different types of banana, and there's freaking pink pineapple out there, and there are grapes that taste like cotton candy, and there are just an unending amount of stuff you can order online. So if you're like, man, I'm itching to have something special, get yourself something special online, like a nice fruit from like MiamiFruit.com. Actually, no one. But I bought all kinds of stuff. I've had, and you get like, I got a banana box, not to go off on a tangent here, but I got a banana box that was really awesome. It's like 10 different types of banana. You get like a hand of each, And boy, you would be amazed the experience it is to like consider what you're eating while you're regrowing an organ and experiencing something fun. It's like a really layered experience. So I suggest you have some fun eating post-surgery because it is different than before. I actually got red bananas at home right now. You know, you can get
Red bananas?
You can get red bananas at Price Chopper in town.
I got baby carrots yesterday, and they were red carrots. They were the color of watermelon.
These are red skin banana, and they're smaller, but the inside of them is like a Cavendish, but it doesn't have that Cavendish flavor. It's like a sweeter flavor. And the rind is very different. Their texture is more like a pudding. It's the best banana in the world. There's one, it's like a little better. It's called an ice cream banana. Haven't had that before. I'll have it one day. But I'll elaborate. Like you see, I got lots of elaboration. I could talk for hours about the condition and things I thought about. And there's tons more. Like just being in a car for a while, you know?
Those rice.
I was just nervous. 8 mile hair.
Yeah, I guess it's better than eating somebody else's hair.
Where's that brush, man?
Nowhere bad. It's not used on the cats. I just hate when I get a haircut and then I get out of the chair and I'm covered in hair.
I took baths instead of showers for a lot of my recovery. Not like a lot, but like let's say the first 3 weeks of recovery, I opted for a bath instead of a shower because it was just much easier to keep my body from heating up. Like I explained earlier, you don't want to get your core temperature too high because you're going to start bleeding internally and you don't feel that.
Wow.
The only thing they warn you about is a bile leak post-surgery. They're like, you'll know. Oh yeah, I'll know when my stomach ache and all this internal pain isn't a fucking bile leak. As if I'm a doctor and or a patient who's been through that before. They explain it to you like, oh yeah, you'll know when you're leaking bile. Absolutely not. You won't know. You'll probably feel some sensation that I didn't feel because I've never had a bile leak, but at the same time I was under enough pain. I could have had one that healed, so.
They assume you'll know because they would know.
Yeah, they assume you'll know because you'll probably be in excruciating pain. Bile is like acid. When it hits your organs, it's probably not a good feeling inside you, so. Look, I can stand finally. I needed it so bad. Look, there's your Discord, perfect.
How's it feel?
Hey, look, we have a Spanish viewer. Again, I can't say enough, but thank you, Lucas. You're literally the only person with a platform for donors. I've held on to your account for hope, and you're an amazing human being. Thank you so much. I've said it from the beginning, and it stressed me out the entire time that there was no one out there who had even recorded anything about it. There was nothing. I'm looking on videos and like, oh look, here's 2 guys together 6 years after the freaking donation, and it's a hospital that's come to interview them about it. Yeah, that's gonna get my hopes up. Or a video about literally the surgery, like I need to see that, or just biographics about the surgery, as if that was gonna help me. But I looked at literally everything. I studied so much that once I had met my doctor and talked to him, I was like, hey, I've seen your name in papers. And I actually know he was at the time, he was the top doctor in liver donation. Somebody might have asked him by now, but I highly doubt it because he's got so much experience. Yeah, he had over 360 donations at the time. He'd been doing it for about 10 years and had really no complications. The last person that had a complication from him, he couldn't remember why it had happened. And I'm like, oh, sick. You don't remember why somebody had a complication. That means it was probably some fluke thing, right?
Some really minor thing.
I was the next complication. So I literally woke up and was like, I'm so sorry. He's like, why are you sorry? I'm like, because you're going to have to tell the next guy that you had a complication with me. And he's like, oh, it's no big deal. You didn't die. And I'm like, yeah, obviously I didn't die, but it was one of those things. I'm like, wow, man, you're like.
I know I didn't die because my
okay.
mother hasn't killed you.
You act like he was a plumber.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, see? Yeah. Yeah, you would literally, and you're not going to find the information I'm going to share. I'm trying to be concise and clear about what I'm telling people. That way you're not out there like, oh, how many times am I going to go to the bathroom post-surgery every day? I'll get into the nitty-gritty of what it felt like post-surgery. I had the whole incision in my center, so I wasn't trying to do a whole lot of activity, things like going to the bathroom or something I thought about a lot, so I probably have more thought about it than most people. So that's why I like sharing it with people, and that's why I think it matters so much. Like you've said, the wonder that this experience presents is an unending one. And I sat there for weeks, just laying in position, considering, oh my God, there is literally nothing to help me in this situation. I can't find anything. Reaching out to my doctor's team is like asking people if my tires are gonna go flat tomorrow. They're like, oh, it could. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. That's how much hair I had to lose today. Plenty of grays came out of there. 31 and I already got gray hair going like crazy. Still looking nice and black. But yeah, I wish you well. I'm so sorry. You were literally the person I was thinking about while I wasn't posting. I'm like, gotta get a video out. Gotta get a video out. But I had a lot going on in my life. Like I'll explain, just so you know who I am. I'm not nobody. I don't work at Walmart. I'm a professional in construction. I'm a project manager.
We respect people that work at Walmart.
Yeah. It's not like I'm talking down about positions in life. I respect everybody for what they do.
You have a high pressure position.
Yeah, I have a high pressure position. I had an employee quit, so I took over their workload, and it's just been a catch-up game. I went 3 days without water, had to buy a well pump, dealing with being a homeowner and being a professional in life at the same time as trying to get out there and help a lot of people is just a lot to do. So took a couple days off, but I'm gonna share videos. And in that time, I was like, this is getting out of control. My hair has suddenly become the size of the room, and I need to cut it. Just laying in bed was enough time. You can see it in my videos. I grew a full beard. I was like, no, I can't do that. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. We're gonna end the live stream just because this was like me reaching out to people. I'm blessed that you jumped in here because this is the person that I really wanted.
We're so thankful and so grateful and
supportive,
sending you positive energy and positive
absolutely.
thoughts
Yes.
and blessings, and having you have had the surgery for the world.
Well,
is
being
a
involved, having a spouse that's had the surgery, like this is my mom obviously, but I'll have my spouse on too so she can speak to how it was like taking care of me because she was the one that was, every day, hey, here's your clothes, hey, here's your food, taking care of me like I was a baby. But
she did what your grandmother used to do for your grandfather.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so.
When he was old and a grown up.
Yeah. Like, I'll actually have an interview with my grandfather too one day so you can see the donor reception, like it's probably you, literally you. You'll see what that situation is like, how my grandfather feels post my grandmother receiving my organ, worrying about his grandson dying, seeing the gift of life. We'll talk about everything. And he's a strong guy too, and he'll explain like, no concern. Like my grandmother was more than happy. She's like, yeah, absolutely, no concerns. So again, thank you.
Thanks.
This is like maybe my 4th live stream of my entire life, so I'm not super good at it yet. The other ones you can see on my Instagram or my TikTok, I was like turning stuff on a lathe or making something, so I appreciate it. Go look me up on Facebook. I have a Facebook, and I will hit you up on Discord for sure, so we can chit chat for sure.
Bye, thank you, blessings.
We love you. I don't know how to say goodbye enough. I just like stay on the camera forever. I'm like, I look so good now. Yes, thank you so much again. Have a good night.
He'll reach out to you, so you can expect it.
I'm literally gonna scroll up before I can't. I'm gonna snap your Discord. Bam. Done. I got a notification exactly as that happened.
Really?
Yeah. All right, perfect. Thank you so much. Hola, mis amigos. I have a lot of Spanish followers. I don't know Spanish. I don't know Portuguese. They're actually mostly from Brazil, so to know Portuguese, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of learning. But hola, follow for more. I'll see you guys later. And I will make a video later on tonight. You'll see me again tonight, not in these clothes.
You can get that translating.
Oh yeah, all my videos are translated too, so if you want to share anything, every one of them has subtitles that are translated to like 10 different languages, so that's one of the things I considered, and I'm glad I reached you, but I've also tried to reach out to like people in India, Korea, China, the UK.
Communication is key.
You name it, I'm reaching out there to help people because there's nothing for anybody. You try and look, and I'm going to be like the face of this eventually. So thank you so much. I'm glad you're here in the beginning, and I can't wait to hear about all your updates as your spouse heals. This is it. This is actually me ending the video.